Evening all, or afternoon if you're in America. Good to have you here. Happy International Women's Day to all the ladies in the audience. Hope you are getting treated right today. All right, so just occurred to me, we must be coming up close on 6 months of this quiz. So good to see plenty of regulars in tonight. And it's the usual deal. If I think we may have 1 or 2 new teams or players in. So I'll, as usual, run through a little intro of how this works. I'll be reading out the questions and pictures and anything will be on screen as well on the stream. You play along in your browser with the question form you'll have been sent. And sorry for that. Distracted. It's been a bit of a week. Yeah, so you play along in the question forms, and your answers aren't locked in until you hit submit. So if I'm going too fast for you, or you just need a bit more time to think out any of your answers, you just go back, re-enter your answers, and just remember to go forward and then hit submit at the end. So make sure you do get everything submitted. Also, make sure to use the same team name on every form. You might have seen in the little intro video, the little pre-broadcast video that we run, it mentioned that our automatic scoring robot, our spot, it just helps it to automatically put everything in your column in the score table. So all the scores are automated. Everything is double checked by a human as well. So when you see your scores should pop in straight away into the scoreboard when you hit submit. But those are provisional. They get double checked. So if you see your scores wobble around a bit, it's because our hardworking producer, Jessica, has taken a look and seen that usually it's the case of because of a tiny typo or something that our scoring robot has denied you a point or something like that. So it all gets double checked, don't worry. Let's take a look at the rounds we've got coming up on this special International Women's Day edition of the quiz. So we should see them on screen any second now. So first up, every week we start with a round of general knowledge. It's, normal trivia kind of stuff. Then round 2 this week, ups and downs. I'll explain all these rounds as we get to them in more detail. Round 3, the Delabirds and the Bee Drills. Round 4, Robot Bops. Round 5, worst show ever. Round 6, who's in a name? Round 7, order in the sport. That's kind of our regularly occurring sports round. And round 8, another general knowledge round. So we always top and tail the evening with a round of general knowledge. So I think most of the teams that signed up are in, I hope. But it's 5 minutes past the hour. Usually that's when we get round 1 underway. So if you are just getting on the stream now and you signed up for our quiz through any of the avenues we have available, our website, Facebook, Goldstar, you can start entering your team name into the form now, and you can catch up. I will repeat and give a few seconds at the end of round 1 for you to get your answers in for round 1. So if you're just getting into the quiz now, fear not, you should be able to catch up. But let's get started with our first general knowledge round. Let's see what question 1 is. All right, so on this day in 1962, the Beatles made their radio debut on the BBC's Teenager's Turn. Who appeared on drums? Was that Ringo Starr, Pete Best, Stuart Sutcliffe, or Brian Epstein? So, who appeared on drums for the Beatles' radio debut in 1962? So they recorded a performance for the radio. I don't know if they had like studio tracks played on the radio before this, but they recorded a track specifically for like a live recording. Kind of a weird thing to say, a live recording, but I guess this was a thing. I mean, it's still a thing now. I don't know who listens to the radio anymore, but they recorded some of their songs live to be played on the radio the following day. All right, question 2. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappeared on this day of what year? So today's the anniversary. What year did that flight go missing? Was it 2010, 2012, 2014, or 2016? So I think we all remember the news story. Everyone was talking about it for months. Aliens, EMP, secret EMP weapons, dimensional vortexes, all kinds of theories were put together. But yeah, what happened to that? Oh, no, I'm not asking you what happened to the flight. No, what year did that happen? All right, question 3. Despite American drivers driving significantly fewer miles in 2020, obviously because of the lockdown, what saw an increase? Was that traffic accidents, CO2 emissions, car sales, or Uber employees? So despite American drivers driving significantly fewer miles in 2020, what of those correlated stats saw an increase during lockdown? All right, then question 4. Last month, a man in India died after being stabbed in the groin by a baby, a monkey, a dog, or a rooster. So you may have seen this in one of those roundups of like crazy stories from around the world. This was kind of in late February this happened. And finally, question 5. Jessica believes Grover Cleveland to be the ultimate trivia president. And what was unusual about President Grover Cleveland's wife, Frances Folsom? She was his first cousin. She was his legal ward. She was his high school English teacher, or she was his brother's widow. So which of those was true of Grover Cleveland's wife, Frances Folsom? So we can have those kind of rotating in the side of the screen there while you're getting your answers in and thinking about those. If you need to see anything again, they'll be on screen. If you got in late, the questions, they're still on screen. Make sure you're looking at the what number each question is. Yeah, while people are getting those in, let's have some little bits of trivia about the history of International Women's Day. It's quite interesting. It actually has its roots in communism. The earliest idea of having a Women's Day was proposed by the Socialist Party of America in 1910, and it was focused on the fight for suffrage. That was the main women's equality in politics issue of the time. And its current date of March 8th was set by Vladimir Lenin when he made it a national holiday in the Soviet Union in the 1917 revolution. And it wasn't until about 50 years later that second wave feminists adopted the day. And then about 10 years after that, the UN began celebrating the holiday. So the communists are a bit ahead of the curve there on the whole International Women's Day thing. There is an International Men's Day. So if you get anyone going, why isn't there an International Men's Day? You can just tell them it's on November 19th. That's been around since 1992. It's just not as much interest in it. All right, we're still waiting on 2 or 3 teams, I think, to get their answers in. So if you're still thinking, make your choices, hit submit. So if you've made all 5 choices, if you've chosen your 5 answers, you'll also then be prompted to hit the green button at the end. So you'll hit next, and then probably some of the forms you just hit submit immediately after question 5. Some of them you hit next, and then there's another button, a green button that says submit, that you have to hit. So I can't remember which ones are like that, but I think I was just waiting on one team to get that last question, hit that submit button and get that last team's answers in. So come on, I think that's Chap team. So if you're listening, guys, have a look at your phone. Make sure that you've hit Chapstags. So make sure you've got, okay, everyone's in. Yeah, sometimes you look down at your phone and you realize, oh shit, didn't hit submit. So Arspot's calculating the scores. While he's hard at work, let's hear the answers. And Jessica, of course, hard at work. So the answer was, for question 1, Pete Best was the original drummer of the Beatles. So Brian Epstein was the manager. Stuart Sutcliffe he played bass with them in the early days. So all 3 men have been referred to as the 5th Beatle at various points. Ringo obviously was the drummer who was a member of the Beatles for the height of their fame. But yeah, Pete Best was on that recording. Question 2, that Malaysia Airlines flight disappeared in 2014, 7 years ago. And it was traffic accidents that increased during lockdown. So that's basically been attributed to a rise in speeding. So when it was all locked down, when people were driving, roads were a lot emptier. People started driving faster, got accustomed to it. When roads started to fill back up, it led to a lot of traffic accidents, a 4.6% rise. All right, then number 4. Yes, a man was stabbed in the groin by a rooster, to which he had affixed a blade for the purposes of cockfighting, which it apparently took very literally. And this is a weird one. So Frances Folsom, she was born Frank Folsom. Her birth name was Frank. She decided to go by the more feminine Frances. And she was the daughter of Cleveland's close friend, Oscar Folsom. So Cleveland knew her since she was a baby. He doted on her like a niece. Then when Oscar died in an accident when Frances was 6 years old, Cleveland adopted her as his wards and helped her mother to raise her. So most people expected Grover Cleveland to marry his friend's widow, but as soon as she turned 21, making the president to get married while in office, and making Frances the youngest ever first lady. So a weird situation all around. He was 27 years older than her, married her when she was 21, and he was the president. And he had known her since she was an infant. So pretty weird. Yes, indeed. Not that Grover. All right. Grover Cleveland, weird guy, weird story. Everything about is weird. Never wanted to be president, ended up being president twice. All right. So let's take a look at the opening scores. So scores after the first round. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams in. And we've got 3 teams tied in first place, 3 points each for the Van Goghs, Cormax Enterprises, and the Chapstags. Great job, guys. Pine Tree Inc. yet to get off the mark, but everyone pretty close together there. Everyone on 1, 2, or 3 points pretty much. Let's move on to round 2. So our second round today needs a little bit of explanation. So round 2 is ups and downs. And the way this is going to work, I'll give you groups of 4. For most of them, it's going to be 4 women. The last one is a little bit different. And something that may or may not be true for them. You have to choose all the people for which the statement is true. The difference here is you can gain points or lose points. So you can select as many as true. So as many as you think are true. So we have balanced the round. Overall, the round is balanced so that if you guess every single one, all the plus ones and minus ones will balance out to 0. But that doesn't mean that every one there's 2 that give you a +1 and 2 that give you a -1. Some might be more one way or the other. But basically, for everyone you get that's correct, you get 1 point. For everyone that you get that's incorrect, you lose 1 point. So be careful which ones you choose. Don't worry, you're not going to get a negative total from this round. We're not going to let it remove your points from last round. So worst that can happen is you end the round on a 0. Yeah, so I'll explain it again when we show the first question, and it'll be a bit clearer. So let's have a look at question 1. All right, so the prompt is, was the first woman to hold her elected rank in her country? And you've got 4 options there. Theresa May as UK Prime Minister, Angela Merkel as the German Chancellor, Jacinda Ardern as the New Zealand Prime Minister, and Benazir Bhutto as the Pakistan Prime Minister. So you need to choose all the women on that list that you think that statement is true for. For everyone you get right, you will gain 1 point. For everyone you choose, but it's not true for them, you'll lose 1 point. But you can choose as many. You can choose anything from 0 to 4 on each of these. So Theresa May, Angela Merkel, Jacinda Ardern, Benazir Bhutto. Choose all the ones that you think were the first woman to hold her elected rank in her country. All right, number 2 has won a Best Director Oscar. Jane Campion, Sofia Coppola, Catherine Bigelow, and Greta Gerwig. So choose all of them that you think have won a Best Director Oscar. So could be 0, could be anywhere from 0 to 4 of them. But remember, for all of them that you choose that have won a Best Director Oscar, you get 1 point. For all of them you choose that have not won a Best Director Oscar, you'll get -1 point. Oh, I see the eternal discussion of the second guessing and first instincts and stuff. It's always the bane of quizzes. Certainly, when I'm back in the days when physical pub quizzes were possible, I would always find myself cursing myself for not going with my first guess. Even more often, Jessica would find herself in that situation because she'd often get swept along with a group making the wrong choice. All right, number 3 is or was a Nobel laureate. So we've got Rosalind Franklin, Toni Morrison, Marie Curie, and Maya Angelou. So choose all of them who won a Nobel Prize at some point. So anyone on that list who has won a Nobel Prize. All right, number 4 has published a book under a male pseudonym. Got J.K. Rowling, Zadie Smith, Nora Roberts, and Louisa May Alcott. So anyone there who's published a book under a male pseudonym, tick the box. But remember, if you tick someone who has not done that, you lose 1 point. So only go with ones you're pretty sure of. And last one, bit of a twist, is a famous female internet cat. We've got Maru, Grumpy Cat, Hipster Cat, and Long Cat there. So we've got 4 cats of the internet. You have to choose the girl cats. Tick the girl cats. So you'll get plus 1 point for every girl cat you tick, and you'll get minus 1 point for every boy cat. That's the worst. That's the worst, Matt. When you're in a group, when you're playing as a group, and someone, in my case, it's often me, someone who's very confidently wrong can really sink a team in a pub quiz. I found myself in some close competitions where I've torpedoed our team the same way. All right, so this is a tricky one. Now, do obviously consider your answers because a wrong move can take a point away, but don't consider them too long. But yeah, you have the clues on your clues are on your form, so we don't need them going up on the screen. So you know exactly what you're supposed to be matching. Did everyone see the viral Twitter thing of Women's Day this year? Was that Burger King tweet? Did everyone see that? Like they tweeted out women belong in the kitchen, and then like a follow-up tweet being like, if they want to, that's why we're supporting this program to help women and the hospitality industry. Like they make up less than 20% of the industry or something like that. And, you know, the intent obviously is to tweet something that's going to get a lot of engagement to get people to see the follow-up. But I mean, obviously it worked. But I think they maybe misjudged the level of inflammatory that the first tweet is supposed to be. I feel like probably they're getting more heat from that. I think they anticipated heat, but I think they might be getting more than they were planning on. I mean, good. I hope they get lots of heat. I hate when brands do that. Our Twitter account is your best friend stuff. Except when we do it, because we are your best friends. It's good when we do it. Also, we are just 2 people in an apartment. So we're not Burger King. It's not the same thing. All right. So just waiting on one team to get their answers in. So make those choices. You know, throw caution to the wind. You know, who knows? Who knows? Maybe everyone else went for all the wrong ones. But just hit submit. Just check your phone. Make sure there isn't you that has forgotten to hit submit. I see what's happened with my caption here. All right, and our spots on screen, that can only mean one thing. Everybody's in. So that means answer time. So Angela Merkel and Benazir Bhutto were both the first women to hold those respective positions. Theresa May, of course, preceded by Margaret Thatcher, and Jacinda Ardern by Jenny Shipley and Helen Clark. All right, next was the director Oscar, only Catherine Bigelow. So all of the directors listed have been nominated for Best Director. Bigelow is the only one to have taken the prize home for The Hurt Locker in 2010. So Nobel laureate Marie Curie became the first female Nobel laureate in 1903 in an award that she shared with her husband Pierre and fellow physicist Henri Becquerel for their study of radiation. She then won the award again solo in 1911 for her discovery of radium and polonium. Toni Morrison won the prize for literature in 1993. Although her friend and contemporary Maya Angelou never won the prize. And Rosalind Franklin contributed invaluable work to the discovery of the structure of DNA, which Crick, Watson, and Wilkins went on to win the prize for medicine, but she tragically died before the discovery was awarded the Nobel Prize. And number 4 has published a book under a male pseudonym. So all of them, apart from Zadie Smith. So Rowling writes as Robert Galbraith, Roberts as J.D. Robb, and Alcott wrote Pulp Fiction as A.M. Barnard, as in Pulp Fiction, like trashy fiction. Not she didn't write the movie Pulp Fiction. That is not from the creator that brought you Little Women. I just realized we had 2 Little Women options in this round. Greta Gerwig and Louisa May Alcott. Didn't catch that when I was writing it. And of the internet cats, Grumpy Cat and Long Cat are girls. Lady cats. All right, or were. I think they're both dead now. I mean, that's just the way it is with famous internet cats. Cats don't live very long. All right, so let's have a look at the scoreboard after that. We'll see if any positions have changed. Van Goss and Chapstags are both still in pole position, tied on 6. Quillmax Enterprises just dropping out of the tie there, only 1 point back on 5. Butts back at the back of the line, 1 point there. Pine Tree Inc. gets off the line though. They're tied with Cat Flaps on 2. Still very close, extremely close, as is usually the case in the early stages of the quiz. And that takes us on to round 3. I was pleasantly surprised to only see 1 goose egg there. Sometimes those up plus and minus rounds really screw people over. So this one, if you're a Pokemon fanatic, will be right up your alley. The Delibirds and the Beedrills. So something beginning with Generation 2 of Pokemon that they've incorporated is sexual dimorphism is the biological term in Pokemon. So the males and the females of a species looking a bit different. So, peacocks, the males have long, colorful tails and the females don't. Peafowl, I should say. And it's the same with certain species of Pokemon. So, for example, here we have the Generation 3 Pokemon Meditite. You can see the female on the left has ears low down on her head. The male on the right has ears higher up on his head. So we're going to show you 5 male and female pairs of Pokemon. And in the spirit of International Women's Day, you're going to choose the female Pokemon. So let's see what we've got first. A personal favorite of mine, Ludicolo. So choose the female Ludicolo. I think even for people that are pretty into Pokemon, this is pretty much going to be one of those 50-50 randomizer rounds. It's fun to have them in though. And for those of you, I mean, the pictures, we've used the highest definition pictures of Pokemon we could find online, but it's sometimes hard to see on a first glance what the differences are. The Ludicolo on the left has narrow zigzags. The Ludicolo on the right has thicker zigzags. In case you can try and put yourself in the mind of a Game Freak employee making this design decision, and try and imagine which they thought was the more masculine or feminine choice there. All right, now we've got Pikachu. I think we all recognize this guy, the face of the Pokemon franchise. Yeah, Pikachus have gender dimorphism. On the left there, the Pikachu has a flat end of the tail, and the Pikachu on the right has a little indent at the end of its tail, a little notched tail. So you can guess which of those is the female Pikachu. All right, Pokemon number 3. This is Hippowdon, the hippo Pokemon. And the difference here, a little bit more immediately apparent than the last two. One of them's gray, one of them's officially described as brown. I think it's more of a yellow. And yeah, choose which one you think is a lady hippo, Hippowdon. All right, Pokemon number 4, Combee. Combee is one of the Pokemon where the gender difference makes a difference, because they evolve differently. And you can see the Combee on the left, its bottom middle face has a little red diamond on it, and the Combee on the right doesn't. So guess which of those is a female Combee. And the last one of Jessica's favorites, Wooper. Kind of axolotl looking little guy, Wi-Fi symbol on his belly or her belly. The one on the left has 2 branches on its gills, and the one on the right has 1 branch on its gills. Choose which of those you think is the female Wooper. All right, so all of these are 50-50, and there's not really a way to work it out. You just got, I guess you can just guess if you were working for the Pokemon Company or Nintendo or Game Freak, whoever makes these design decisions, which way you would go. So get those guesses in. Because you are choosing pictures on this round, you may be prompted to complete a captcha. Because you're just choosing the pictures and not drawing them, it's probably just going to be one of those tick the box captures. But yeah, you've got the names and the pictures on your phones, so we don't need to keep that up on screen anymore. Any of you grow up on Pokemon? I watched the TV show, the cartoon, when I was a kid. Only the first couple of series, so the original 150 Pokemon. But I never had a Game Boy, so I only really played the games after I was grown. Started playing Pokemon Go. I played some of the Leaf Green on phone emulators before I got into Pokemon Go, just as a way to pass the time on long train or plane journeys. But yeah, did anyone grow up as a real Nintendo kid? My first console was Sony PlayStation. I never really got into all the classic Nintendo series when I was younger. They're all kind of things I had to discover later in life, or just occasionally play around a friend's house. Oh, and RSpot's calculating. That means everyone's got their answers in. Let's take a look. So first up, narrow zigzag Ludicolo is Ms. Ludicolo. I guess they're dainty zigzags. Yeah, that notched tail. I guess it kind of looks heart-shaped for Lady Pikachu. The kind of the one that makes most biological sense, the more drab-colored Hippowdon is the female, as is often the case in nature, where males are kind of brightly colored to attract ladies. Number 4, the combi with the little red diamond. It's the one that can evolve. So the males, like bees, they're just, I mean, it's not quite like bees because not all female bees become queens, but yeah, only the female one can evolve into like the queen bee. And last one, Wooper. The one with only one gill branch is the lady. Again, I think just a completely arbitrary decision there. Let's see how that affected the scores. Well, that's why we started playing Pokemon Go originally, was that just to get us walking, to get us out of the house. Yeah, it did a pretty good job. And the Chapstags have managed to separate themselves there into the lone leaders on 10 points. Van Goghs and Cornmax tied in second place on 9. So it looks like we're shaping up for a good bit of shifting and shuffling and shouldering and all of that at the top of the leaderboards. And then just shy of them, we've got CICU, Cool Ant, and Cat Flaps on 7, 6, and 6, respectively. That's kind of our second peloton back there. And then Pine Tree Inc. and Butts. They are fighting at the rear of the pack. But, you know, it's a game of 8 rounds. You know, things can change at any moment. And I'm going to let you know now, we do have another potential 10-point round yet to come. So obviously ups and downs is a potential 10-pointer. And the next round is another potential 10-pointer. So we could flip the table on the next round. Okay, so let's have a look at the next round. It's Robot Bops. So in this, we've done this once before, I think. We feed lyrics from well-known songs into a voice-to-text speaker, and you have to try and work out what they're saying and work out what the song is. Sorry, a little frog in my throat there. So all these songs from today's edition of Robot Bops have a kind of International Women's Day feel to them. Yeah, if you get them, you'll see what I mean, and you'll see anyway when we do the answers. And there are 10 points up for grabs because we want both the artist and the song. Be careful when you are typing those in. It says on each box which box is for artist, which box is for song. So I think it's song first, then artist, from when I play tested it earlier, but I may be wrong. So read carefully in your screens. Don't take my word for it. Believe your eyes. There will be, as usual, there's going to be a short interval after round 4, and you will be able to replay the songs on your devices. So you can hit play and replay on the YouTube links that are embedded in the answer form. You're probably going to need a second listen on these. Some of them, it's pretty hard to make out what these robots are on about. So, without any further ado, let's hear the first one.
The phone rings in the middle of the night. My father yells, "What you gonna do with your life? Oh daddy dear, you know you're still number 1. But..."
All right, so from our Australian robots.
The phone rings in the middle of the night. My father yells, "What you gonna do with your life? Oh daddy dear, you know you're still number 1. But..."
I don't have my sound on, so I don't know if that was 1 again or 2. So, okay, that was 1 again. All right, now coming from the German robots, I think, if I remember correctly. Number...
Rielico wilt je doin et in style Get in the action, feel the attraction, color my hair do what I dare oh oh oh. I want to be free yeah, to feel the way I feel.
All right, and again on that one.
Oh oh oh, really go wild yeah, doing it in style oh oh oh. Get in the action, feel the attraction, color my hair do what I dare oh oh oh. I want to be free yeah, to feel the way I feel.
All right, our third one is coming to you from the Philippines. This is a Filipino voice to text bot or text to voice.
Take this pink ribbon off my eyes. I'm exposed and it's no big surprise. Don't you think I know exactly where I stand? This world is forcing me to hold your hand.
And one more time.
Take this pink ribbon off my eyes. I'm exposed and it's no big surprise. Don't you think I know exactly where I stand? This world is forcing me to hold your hand.
All right, next up, song number 4. If I remember correctly, it's from the one I found the funniest. It's not offensive, it's not me doing a bad accent, it's a robot. But probably the hardest one to understand. So listen carefully to our Italian robot.
Question. Tell me what you think about me. I buy my own diamonds and I buy my own rings. Only ring your celly when I am feeling lonely. When it's all over, please get up and leave.
All right, and remember artist and song one more time.
Question. Tell me what you think about me. I buy my own diamonds and I buy my own rings. Only ring your celly when I am feeling lonely. When it's all over, please get up and leave.
And for song number 5, we have the Russian robot.
That girl thinks she's the queen of the neighborhood. She's got the hottest strike in town. That girl, she holds her head up so high. I think I wanna be her best friend, yeah.
You'll notice we've gone for female robot voices as well. Let's hear that one more time.
That girl thinks she's the queen of the neighborhood. She's got the hottest strike in town. That girl, she holds her head up so high. I think I wanna be her best friend, yeah.
All right, so those are the 5 songs. Some of them a bit easier to make out what they're saying than others. We're going to give you a few minutes to replay them as you need. So we're going to start the interval now. And the first minute or so of the interval, we're not going to play our interval video, just so you can listen to those again. They're only like 10 seconds each. And then the interval video will kick in. So I'll be back here in about 3 minutes with the scores. All right, see you in a bit. All right, I'm back, and that means it's time to start getting those answers in, guys. Some classic tunes there. I know you're just listening to them over and over just to enjoy some of your favorite songs performed so identifiably by text-to-speech program. But all good things must come to an end. So whatever is in the back of your mind, whatever your thoughts are tickling your subconscious, you're probably right. So type it in and hit submit. So we will probably stick the old 30-second timer up now. And yeah, please make sure you've hit that green submit button by the time it's finished counting down, which, yeah, I think they get progressively harder due to the accents. All right, so that's the timer. Hit submit. Whatever you've got, just get them in, and we'll then have a look at the answers once they're all submitted. All right, so when I see our spot pop up, that means everyone's got their guesses in. We'll be a little lenient on the old 30-second timer, given it was a pretty tricky round. All right, so the answers were, first up, we had...
The phone rings in the middle of the night. My father yells, "What you gonna do with your life? Oh daddy dear, you know you're still number one. But..."
And it was Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. All right, number two.
Oh, really go wild yet doing it in style oh. Get in the action, feel the attraction, color my hair do what I dare oh. I want to be free yeah, to feel the way I feel.
That one was Man, I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain. All right, number three.
Take this pink ribbon off my eyes. I'm exposed, and it's no big surprise. Don't you think I know exactly where I stand? This world is forcing me to hold your hand.
That one was Just a Girl by No Doubt. Number four.
Question, tell me what you think about me. I buy my own diamonds and I buy my own rings. Only ring your celly when I am feeling lonely. When it's all over, please get up and leave.
Number four was Independent Women by Destiny's Child. Probably the most difficult one in my, purely based on accent. Number five might have been more difficult just because it's a slightly not as well-known song combined with a tricky accent. But definitely four, I think, had the worst accent for understandability. And let's hear number five.
That girl thinks she's the queen of the neighborhood. She's got the hottest strike in town. That girl, she holds her head up so high. I think I wanna be her best friend, yeah.
That was Rebel Girl by Bikini Kill. So let's take a look at the scores from that round. I feel like it might have been a tough one. Those robots aren't always easy to understand. We will double check for misspellings. We tried to make sure that we have made allowances for common misspellings. But there are human eyes double checking our spot's work. So these are professional scores, of course, and they will all be double checked. within the reasonable realms of what is considered a misspelling. If you've written just a different word. All right, so kind of all over the map, there's some very strong performances in that round. Some people really struggled with it, but the Van Goghs have regained the lead with a very strong performance, 7 out of 10. Great round there for them, and that puts them on 16 in sole control of the lead. The Chapstags just 1 point back on 15. Cat Flaps rising nicely in the ranks from another strong performance. 12 points for them. Another strong performance lower down the table. Butts bring themselves right into the middle of the pack there. They're on 9 points now after getting 7 in that round. So a bit of quite a lot of moving and shaking in the quiz table there, in the score table. But congrats to all the teams on that round, and congrats to the Van Goghs moving into first place to begin the second half of the quiz. Yeah, we anticipated some issues with the spelling of Cindy, so Artspot was only grading the word Lauper because we're like, well, there's too many variations on Cindy to account for there. So let's have a look at round 5, the first round of the second half. Now we have found that things can really change. You know, sometimes teams just have a real passionate halftime talk, and they come out of the gate real strong in the back half of the quiz. So let's see what happens. This round is worst show ever. We've got 5 TV shows. They are all TV shows where the title of the show is taken from the name of the female lead. So they're all female-led TV shows, and the title of the show includes that lead's name. And we are going to give you clues that are just 1-star Amazon reviews of this show. So we're going to read you a 1-star Amazon review, or if it's a long review, just an excerpt from the review. And you're going to try and guess from that context what this TV show is. And the little bit of extra clue, the extra bit of information, they're all TV shows with the name of the female lead in the title. All right, so let's see number 1. So first up, one of the worst shows ever. So Amazon makes you give your reviews a title. So all of these have little titles. A show led by an annoying soap opera diva star who is not half as talented as she believes herself to be. A show full of negative energy, bad influences, plot holes larger than every thing you've ever imagined. For instance, once title character used a rocket launcher inside a mall, and this was not even big news. All typos, not ours. These are as found. All right. So what female-led TV show do you think that could be describing? Obviously, some of these shows are very well loved, some less so, but they will all be reviewed by people who absolutely hate them. All right, next up. Okay, number 2. John Goodman is great and the kids are great is the title, and the meter of the review. Wish I could give it no stars. John Goodman is great and the kids are great, but title character is a talentless hack who is incredibly annoying and hate-filled, both on-screen and off-screen. She should never work another day on a set. So, what got that? What TV show got that Amazon reviewer so ticked off? What made them leave that 1-star review? Well, they were made to leave that 1-star review by the fact that Amazon makes you leave at least 1 star. Right. Okay. Yeah, there are some adjustments for the scores in the previous round because we're giving a point for independent woman as well as independent women. Very similar. I think it's within the realms of you still get a point for that, but it's just kind of difficult to program the conditional logic of Artspot to account for that. All right. Then question 3. Subjective is the title, and the meter of the review. Ugly is subjective. I know some beautiful women are very ugly. What female titled, like female lead titled TV show could that be a 1-star review of? This was the whole review, so I don't know how this encompasses why you're giving us a TV show 1 star. Yeah, so the number 1, that review, I mean, you only got a taste. You thought that was a long excerpt. Their review went on for pages. They had a lot of problems with that show. It's the whole review. This is the like totality of why they gave it 1 star. All right, number 4. Title characters' explanations leave much to be desired. As far as a comprehensive textbook on everything, this show was not very good. Noticeably missing were explanations on the 30 Years' War, the film Grumpier Old Men, and the band 3 Doors Down. So this one, more of a jokey toned 1-star review. You know, you're bound to get one in a round like this. And so just try to think, can I think of any female lead character titled shows that this might make sense for? And then the last one, number 5. Horrible. Inconsistent storyline, no decent dialogues, acting at such a low level as humanly possible, abuse of Greek mythology and mix of elements, customs, fighting styles from no less than 15 different cultures and ages. Save your money. Leave show title where it should remain, on the shelves. So, what could that be? All right, so all of these, the full body of text should be in your answer forms, so we don't need to keep these on the screen. But yeah, definitely. So we saw in there, we had one of those kind of choky ones, and Wacky Amazon Reviews did kind of have the Day in the Sun as a medium of internet comedy a few years ago. And it's funny the first few times, but then it just led to this influx of people trying to do the same thing. So, you're trying to find funny or wacky Amazon reviews, and you get a lot of people that just like, oh, I've got a good joke, it could go viral. But it is very satisfying when you do find someone who has written just one 2,000 word passionate screed against a TV show from years ago, and everything else is just even-tempered reviews of classical piano CDs or something. It just gives you a real window into a person's mind, into their world. Who is this person? Why have they taken time out from their life of listening to just kind of easy listening piano solos just to go on this wild tangent about how much they hate this TV show? It's there are definitely, you can find them, just those absolutely out there Amazon reviews that really leave you scratching your head. Cyndi Lauper's married. I'm just seeing this now, the comment from Matt. Played Super Mario. Weird. I didn't know there was a live-action Super Mario show. I knew there was a live-action movie, and I knew there was an animated show. Oh man. Well, I'm almost disappointed to find out like that, because now I can't use it in the quiz. But that's a very interesting piece of trivia. All right, so we're just waiting on 2 teams to get those answers in. So yeah, you can see the reviews. You know, you've got all the information necessary to make your guesses. And obviously, remember, all of these are TV shows that have the name of the female lead in the title. So obviously, some TV shows that the whole title might just be their name. Some of them might just be titles that include the name. We're just waiting on one team to get their answers in. So Pine Tree Inc., I think that's you. So make sure you submit, obviously, if you're busy. If you've been distracted by something and you can hear me, just look down at that phone, hit that button. But yes, otherwise, Cindy Lauper had a cameo on the show. I've got to find this show now. It sounds amazing. Like Cindy Lauper's vibe is kind of like would match with the like Bob Hoskins movie. I could see that. Like all the people in whatever they like the Mushroom Kingdom, they had a very Cindy Lauper energy to them, like the movie version of Toad and that. Are we still waiting on that one team, producer Jessica? I think that it usually in the case where there's one team way longer, that usually indicates either tech problems or real world distraction. Huh. Okay. So they are in the chat and they say they've already submitted. So in that case, it usually means you submitted at exactly the same 100th of a second as someone else and it gets buried. This is a very, you know, that meme of like, if I had a nickel for every time something happened, I'd have 2 nickels. But it's weird that it's happened twice. I feel like this is the same thing. It's happened once before, where 2 people submit their answers within the same 100th of a second, and it causes the answer receiving spreadsheet to bury one of them. But if that is the case, it means it would be, we've got it. It just hasn't like notified us about it. So yeah, Jessica will be able to do some digging and find it, and it looks like she's been able to. So we'll go through the answers first. So first up, we had the long screed, the excerpt of the long screed titled one of the worst shows ever. And that was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, there's like, what, season 3, I think, where she beats the final baddie of the season. No, it's not the big bad of the season. There's like some ancient demon lord. She blows him up with a rocket launcher. Then number 2, John Goodman is great. The kids are great. That's Roseanne. So obviously John Goodman, the big clue on that one. Number 3 was subjective concepts of beauty. That was Ugly Betty. This is probably the most lateral thinking kind of one there. Yeah, Ugly Betty, the answer for number 3. Number 4. Title characters' explanations leave much to be desired. It's Clarissa Explains It All. So yeah, she doesn't really explain everything. Very, very, very funny person who wrote that review. And last one, number 5, horrible. Someone who was very annoyed that Xena, Warrior Princess, was not a faithful and accurate presentation of ancient Greek culture. Actually, that's like a whole genre of review on the Xena Amazon page. We just had to choose the least racist one for broadcast purposes. All right, so let's take a look at the scoreboard after that one. All right, oh yeah, it's our spot. If you don't have your team name exactly the same, we get it, but it doesn't. He doesn't put it in the scoreboard. I think we accounted for that particular misspelling, so you should have gotten the point for that one anyway, of Roseanne. So let's is a common alternate spelling of that name. So yeah, you will have gotten the point for that automatically. And we're back to a tie in first place between the Van Goghs and the Chapstags. They've been going at it all night. They really seem to have separated themselves from, Cormax and CICU. Both got pretty close at various points, but they are now tied in second place, 15 each. So they are 6 points back from the two teams battling it out at the top of the table. Then Cat Flaps just 1 point back from them. So we got a little 3 teams very close together there. In fact, Butts also very close. And Cool Land, in fact, very close behind them. Right, yes. So we'll always double check spellings of answers after rounds. Our spots, if you spell your team name differently, we do still receive the answers, but one of our spots functions is to automatically put them into the scoreboard as well, which you can't do if the name is different. All right, so let's have a look at round 6. Who's in a name? So in this round, I'm gonna give you some clues for places that are named after women. So we're still, we've kept this International Women's Day theme going pretty well through like music rounds, sports rounds, now our geography rounds. I think we've done a pretty good job. And so it's places that are named after women. We're going to show you them on a map and give you a clue. You just got to type in the name of the place. All right, so first off, we can see it on a map there, and known as Hewanora to the native Carib people. Control of this island changed hands multiple times between the French and British empires, and it is now the only independent country directly named after a woman. There's an edge case. This is the only very obviously, blatantly named after a woman independent country in the world. All right, let's have a look at number 2. Known as, I did look up the pronunciation from this and forgot to refresh myself. I think it's Mbantua to its original inhabitants. This town near Australia's geographic centre was named after the wife of one of the inventors of the electric telegraph. So, a place in the middle of Australia with the lady's name. All right, number 3. Home to the famous Banff National Park, this Canadian province was named after one of Queen Victoria's granddaughters, which means that she also has a dinosaur named after her indirectly. So there's a dinosaur named after this province. All right, then number 4. Named after the Queen Consort to King Charles I, this US state is famous for the blue crabs, which are abundant in Chesapeake Bay, which makes up much of the eastern portion of the state. And finally, this historic Mediterranean city is famous as the cradle of Western philosophy, and appropriately is named after the goddess of wisdom. Okie dokie. So you've got all your clues there. So guess some of them will be countries, provinces, cities, towns. We're covering the spectrum here of administrative regions. They're all named after women, either real or fictional. And we can have them scrolling on the screen there. See number 5. They're all marked on maps as well. If you're good at recognizing maps. So, yeah, I can't remember if we left these ones in the form. So yeah, we'll just leave them on for the time being, just in case. But yeah, I think this one is a bit more. This round's a little bit more straightforward than some of the ones leading up to it. We went a bit more conceptual with some of the last couple of rounds. This one's a pretty classic. It's a geography round with the added flavor of ladies' names. And it's not flags. We did a geography round that doesn't involve flags. Yes, we will accept your thanks and praises. I just think flags are neat. It's actually going to get choppy. Choppiness. They're quite shiny. Do I always look this shiny? I know what Jessica would say to that anyway.
Yes.
I need to start powdering myself. I need to start being like a real diva. All right, so get those answers in, guys, for the classic geography round. We're all over the map. We've got Australasia. We've got a couple of North America. Actually, Caribbean is North America adjacent. Well, okay, we're maybe leaning a little bit towards the Western Hemisphere on this one, but we've got Europe. We've got Australasia. You know how the British were, and the French, and the Dutch, and so on. Everywhere's kind of places named after women. It's always like most of them are the same, like 4 or 5 women. So we tried to find some that weren't just called Victoria. I think everyone's got their answers in. So let's take a look at the answers while Arspot's tying up the scores. So first up was St. Lucia. So first, it's named after St. Lucy of Syracuse, not the one in New York. During the whole constantly changing hands between the British and French period of history, it was also sometimes referred to as the Helen of the Caribbean, after Helen of Troy. So it's been kind of named after 2 women. And it's the only nation to share a name and title directly with a woman, with nothing else in there. But Ireland is also kind of named after a woman. So in Irish, Ireland is called Éire, which is derived from the name of the goddess Eru. So that's kind of an edge case. But yeah, St. Lucia is kind of the unambiguously named after a woman nation. All right, next up, we have the town in the middle of Australia. It's Alice Springs, named after Alice Gillam Bell. Number 3, the Canadian province Alberta was named after Princess Louise Caroline Alberta. Number 4, Maryland was named after Henrietta Maria of France. And finally, Athens, named after the goddess Athena. If you submitted and then hit back, it will take you back to the form again. But we've still got your answers, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I guess you can just go through the form again. And we'll just ignore the resubmission. It's probably quicker and easier than finding the link to the next one. All right, so let's look at the scoreboard after that. Let's see how everyone did. Still a tie at the top. Oh boy, and we're getting close. We're getting close. We could have a tie break. You know I love a tie break. All right, so at the top of the scoreboard, the Van Goghs and the Chapstags still tied on 25 points each. Cormax 5 points back on 20. Cat Flaps 17. CICU and Butts tied on 15. Butts clawing their way up those standings. Then we've got Cool Ant on 11 and Pine Tree Inc. on 10. But it seems like it's all Van Goghs and Chapstags at the moment. But definitely anyone from Butts up can pretty much get themselves into contention if they do well in this next round. Which is Order in the Sport, International Women's Day edition. I think I alluded to this earlier because I forgot that we hadn't done it yet. And this is our sports round, and it's all female achievements in sport. Order in the Sport, it's usually putting stuff in order or like matching a sequence of numbers to sports questions. So all of these are lady sports related. You're going to be given 5 numbers. You can see them here: 6, 17, 23, 12, and 21. And now we're going to give you 5 different sports trivia questions that can be answered with one of these numbers. So there's no doubling up. Each one is only answered with one number. So there's one number per question. There's no number that goes to 2 of them, and we don't use one of the numbers. It's all 5 to 5. And the first one, number of Grand Slams won by Serena Williams. The GOAT of all time, the GOAT. Serena feels like she comes up semi-regularly as a trivia topic. I think it just comes with the territory of being so historically good at your sport. So number of Grand Slams she's won. So in case you need reminding, the Grand Slams are the US, French, and Australian Opens plus Wimbledon. So those 4 tennis tournaments, a victory in any of those counts as a Grand Slam victory. So for those of you who don't really know tennis, there are 4 Grand Slam tournaments played every year. So if you want to try estimating it out. All right, next up, we've got the number of seconds by which swimmer Katie Ledecky won her first major race after returning from lockdown. So one of the stars of the Rio Olympics. She's obviously warming up now for the Tokyo Olympics, which are apparently happening with no people present. And she just had her first major race, her first big swim meet back since lockdown shut everything down. I think it was like a distance race. It was like 1,500 meters. And how many seconds did she win by? She's very good at swimming. All right, number 3. The number of consecutive victories in Amanda Nunes's undefeated streak in the UFC. So if you watched UFC, what was it, 259, whichever one it was, just at the weekend, she fought and won. She armbarred Megan, what's her name, into submission in like 2 minutes. And that was extending the longest unbeaten records in the women's sport, and I think pretty close. I think maybe she tied the active unbeaten streak. Anyway, she's really good at fighting. Like there's no one left to fight her. Number 4. Oh, there's one guy with a longer streak, but she's got I think he's only 1 fight ahead of her. All right, next up, number of goals scored in Women's World Cup games by Brazilian footballer Marta. So this is just in the World Cup itself. This is over. This can be so she is the career leader, and that means over multiple World Cups. So in her career, in however many World Cups she's played in, how many goals has she scored in World Cup games? So we can see the whole Brazilian footballer mononym thing. It carries over to the ladies' sport. Great to see. It's not just Pele and Rivaldo and original Ronaldo, and Neymar and what have you. And finally, we've got the number of WNBA finals appearances by the Minnesota Lynx. So historically, one of the best WNBA teams in women's basketball, and they have the most appearances in the finals of any WNBA team. But how many appearances is that? What is that number? So try to match them up correctly. Maybe you see any outliers, like that must be the highest or that must be the lowest. That's often a good way to try and process of elimination it out. Or if there's any that you just know for sure, like maybe something that you watched on TV about 2 days ago. All right, I think we're just waiting on one or two teams now, so get those answers in. Anyone watching the Nunes fight? I mean, who is she supposed to fight at this point? Open it up. Dana White just needs to open it up to anyone. Anyone want to get 100 grand to get like a brain contusion, just so he's got something to do. All right, so I think we're still waiting on one team. Hit that submit button, guys, if it's you. All right. So I think that means it's time for the answers. There's our spot, his familiar face. Jessica's given him different color backgrounds each round this time. I thought that was a nice touch. All right, let's have a look at the answers. So first up, Serena Williams, most of all time, I think of the modern era, certainly. 23 Grand Slam victories. Then Katie Ledecky won her first race back by 21 seconds. That's about half length of the pool in a distance race. So very good. She's very good at swimming. Amanda Nunes has a 12-win streak in UFC. Marta scored 17 World Cup goals in her career over 5 World Cups. And the Minnesota Lynx have been to the WNBA finals 6 times, winning 4 of those times. I think they're in a 3-way tie for most WNBA championships. A couple of other teams. I think the Houston team, I can't remember what they're called, and another team, whatever team won last season. All right, so let's have a look at the scoreboard after that, see how things are looking, if we're going to be staring down the barrel of a tiebreaker. And yeah, we're definitely in striking range of a tiebreak or even potentially a three-way tiebreak after Cornmax had the stronger showing in that round, and they pulled themselves back into contention. They're just 3 points shy of the Chapstags. Van Gogh's there 1 point shy on 25. So any of those teams could be our champions, or we could get a tie. Cat Flaps on 18, CICU on 16, Butts on 15, and Coolant and Pine Tree Inc. tied on 12. Exciting stuff. Let's see. It's close to the bottom. It's close to the top. There's also a pack in the middle. Love to see it, and we'll see how all of those contests shake out after the final round of general knowledge questions. All right. So, general knowledge, round 8, question 1. What is unusual about Skipper, the Australian Shepherd born in Oklahoma City last month? Is it she has 2 heads, she has a pouch, she has 6 legs, or she has flippers? So, Skipper, the Australian Shepherd puppy, what's unusual about her? You may have seen this story going around recently as it's been in the news. Not the serious news, the fun news. All right, question 2. A poll from travel website Trivago found that 4 in 10 Brits would do what in order to be able to travel again immediately? Is it get COVID, give up sex for a year, get a face tattoo, or lose a finger? Oh, someone's being loud outside. I don't know if that's picking up on the mic, but I can just hear someone just kind of yelling, either in the Airbnb downstairs or on the street, can't tell. All right, number 3. Oh, a long one. Settle in, get comfortable, guys. Pour yourselves a cup of tea. On this day in 1930, Babe Ruth became the highest paid baseball salary up until that point in history by signing a 2-year, $160,000 contract with the New York Yankees. Manager Ed Barrow wrongly predicted, "No one will ever be paid more than Ruth." How soon was he proven wrong by a player earning more than Ruth's $80,000 a year? So was that 5 years later by Lou Gehrig in 1935, 19 years later by Joe DiMaggio in 1949, 28 years later by Mickey Mantle in 1958, or 35 years later by Willie Mays in 1965? All right, so who was the next person to earn more than Babe Ruth's $180,000 a year? Yeah, we knew. So today is National Proofreading Day. If you're subscribed to our newsletter, we did mention, will we have the weekly typo? Which often for us comes on question one, round 1. This year, it waited till this week, it waited till almost the end of the quiz. But yeah, I did forget to put the S on Yankees there. There is more than one New York Yankee, it turns out. All right, so which of those questions was the first to earn more than $80,000 a year following Babe Ruth in 1930? All right, next up, how many floppy disks did it take to install Windows 95? These are those small, hard, square, not actually floppy disks. Well, the disks inside the casing were still floppy, but yeah, not like the big old vinyl ones. But how many floppy disks did it take to install Windows 95? That 1, 2, 5, or 13? All right, and last question, our final question of the evening. The oldest known wild bird in the world just had another chick at the age of 70. What type of bird is she? An albatross, a parrot, a penguin, or an ostrich? So the word wild is important there. Obviously, all of these species can live longer in captivity. This is the oldest known wild of any bird, a wild bird of any species. And they just had another chick at the age of 70. This is wild known, of course. We don't know the age of every single bird in the world. All right, so we've got those all there. So, while we've got you here, well, we'll have these cycling for a while. But yeah, get those answers in. You can see them all on the screen there. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if we had someone playing downstairs just yelling the answers up, I don't know how Arspot would manage that. I don't know if we've got him if we've got voice recognition for Arspot yet. It's got one day. Oh, I got a bit choppy. I think I'm okay. All right, and yeah, they're getting pretty crazy down there. Is the Airbnb for sure? Our landlords told us they were putting some kind of noise detector in that would cut the power off in the apartment downstairs when they got too loud. I guess these guys are really determined to find where that limit is. All right, so while we have you all here, I think everyone's seen the questions by now. Yeah, I mean, today's been a weird day for it. Almost exactly 12 hours ago, we had someone just standing out on the street yelling just prior to noon on a Monday, and now it's Monday evening and people just going mad. Yeah, but while I have you here, just want to plug our Thursday night quiz. So this happens every Thursday at a slightly earlier time. So if you're in the UK, it's not at 8 o'clock, it's at 6:30. It's a tea time quiz. Those of you in America, it's at 12:30 p.m. Central instead of 2 p.m. Central. So a lunchtime quiz if you're in the Central time zone. And that's every Thursday, and it's a lot quicker. So some of you here have already played it. We've been running it for 3 or 4 weeks now. And this one, it really whizzes by. You know, the Monday quiz, we get a bit wacky. You've just seen how it goes. The Thursday quiz, we use Kahoot. Some of you are probably familiar with the Kahoot app already, or you can just play it on their website, kahoot.it. We broadcast it on the live stream as we do the Monday quiz, and it usually takes about half an hour. Yeah, nice and quick. And the way Kahoot works is the faster you get your answers in, the more points you get. So it's a real game of speed. And because it's a bit more speed focused, we make the questions a bit more straightforward, a bit more just classic trivia. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a bit of a different vibe to the Monday quiz, but it's free and it's quick and it's a bit earlier, depending on like what time zone you're in. That's either a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, if you're looking for a slightly different flavor of trivia, check it out. Tell your friends. Maybe you've got people who are interested in finding an online trivia experience, but they're reluctant to, pay $5 for a 90-minute thing that they're not sure they're going to like. They can get a little taster on the Thursday thing for free. All right, and that appearance of Arspot does mean that everyone's got their answers in. So let's take a look at the answers. All right, so what's unusual about Skipper? She's got 6 legs. Oh, let's make it a bit bigger so we can see Skipper. I mean, dogs they're not that cute when they're that little, are they? But presumably, when she gets a little bit bigger, she'll be as cute as any other puppy. But, carnivora, freshly hatched. They're a bit gross. You seen a baby panda? They're not as cute as you think. You think you like baby pandas. You actually like toddler pandas. All right. Next, Trivago found that about 38% of Americans and 40% of Brits said they would give up sex for a year if it meant they got to travel again straight away. All right, then. It was Joe DiMaggio, who became the first player to earn $100,000 a year. All right, then, how many floppy disks does it take to install Windows 95? 13. That's a lot of floppy disks. And finally, number 5, an albatross. An albatross has just successfully laid and hatched an egg. She's the oldest known by far. Albatrosses in the wild usually live 20 to 40 years. Usually they mate for life, but they believe that this albatross in particular has outlived one or more previous mates and is on a new one. Yeah, she's by far the oldest albatross known to be alive. So she is absolutely doing the ladies proud on International Women's Day. Also, Cleo, I think I saw a video of Skipper, and she's trying to learn to move and walk, kind of like a normal puppy. She seems to be remarkably healthy. So a lot of dogs born with similar deformities don't last very long at all, but Skipper seems very healthy considering. And I mean, we've all seen 2-legged and 3-legged dogs really learn how to locomote surprisingly well. So dogs just seem to have an innate ability to figure out how to walk, no matter how many legs they have. So I'm optimistic for Skip's future. All right. And some classic dog pun humor there from Matt as well. But always appreciate the classics. All right, so let's have a look. It's a tie! We got our first tiebreaker in a while. 29 points each for the Chapstags and the Van Goghs. So well done to everyone else. Congratulations to Cormax Enterprises finishing in a narrow second place. Cat Flaps breaking into the top 3 if we count it as like tied in first place. Good job there, 20 points. Fantastic job all round. Well done to all of our teams this evening. And we have a bonus form there in the chat for our 2 teams who tied. That's the Chapstags and the Van Goghs. So last week's winners, the Van Goghs. We hadn't had a repeat winner all year until a couple of weeks ago when the German players had their second victory of the year, and now the Van Goghs are within 1 tiebreak question of doing 2 on the trot. But let's see if Chapstags, who also had a victory already this year, I believe, can claim their second of the year. I'm just going to bring up my tiebreak question, which is how many stations are served by the Vienna U-Bahn? How many stations are served by the Vienna U-Bahn? So the Vienna Metro. So you're going to guess, and the closest guess will be our champion of the week. So get those guesses in. All right. Oh, I'm on tenterhooks. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm biting my fingernails. I haven't had a tiebreak to get excited about in a few weeks. So I'm happy to see this. You know, I love it when it goes out to a tie break. Nice weather in Amsterdam, is it? Or just outside of Amsterdam, wherever you guys are? Okay, so let's get drum roll. We have one of our team's guesses in. All right, and we have a decisive winner. First, I'll reveal the answers. The Van Goghs guessed 56. The Chapstags guessed 100. And I'm pretty glad that you guess so there's a big distance between you, because this is one of those things where it's like, oh, what do you count as a station? But yeah, it's like 109. 109 is the answer. Some people count differently and say there's like 98. Either way, that does make the Chapstags quite clearly the winner. They're right in the middle of the range of number of stations. Yes, about 100 stations. So great job at Chapstags there for your well-earned victory, coming down to a tiebreak. Only 39 stops in Amsterdam. I mean, Amsterdam, obviously, it's all canals, right? You can't really build a metro. So yeah, you do have to consider the geography of the city. Vienna is in the mountains, I guess. I assume Austria is all mountains. Never been to Austria. But congratulations to the Chapstags. You got the victory. Pretty decisive win there in the tiebreaker. Congratulations to the Van Goghs, almost repeating. Second place comes right after first. So close to doing 2 on the trot, and I'm sure you'll be back just as strong as ever next week. We'll have a close game here on Trivia Mystery on our Monday trivia stream. Thanks to everyone who played this evening. It was great to have so many teams in. Hope you all had a good time. Hope some of you can make it to our Thursday streams, which, as I said, they've got a bit of a different vibe to them, a bit faster. You've got to be a bit quicker on the buzzers on Thursdays. You can be a bit more relaxed on Mondays. It's the chill out stream. Tell your friends, if you had a good time, get them to play. Tell them to come to Thursday streams if they want a short stream. Tell them to come to the Monday stream if they want to get a bit more wacky with it. But yeah, get people to come. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on whatever social medias you use. Leave us a review on our Facebook page if you want to leave us a good one. Otherwise, maybe just don't bother. And yeah, thank you for coming. All right, see you guys on Thursday if you're coming to that, and next Monday if you're coming to that. Bye-bye.